Hey guys, Mustached. Tom here to review The Bad Guys 2. So of course I have seen the trailer for this one a few times, and I thought The Bad Guys, the original movie, was a little chaotic, but overall pretty okay. So that's my exposure to The Bad Guys. So we're here back again with a sequel. And of course I'm here to review it as objectively as possible. So we begin the movie 5 years in the past of our present timeline, where we see this, I believe it's somewhere in Europe that the opening takes place in, as this leader guy gets his area invaded into, and we learn that this is Tarantula's new, introduction into this group. She's the new one, the newbie as it were. So we see each group member reunite with Wolf, Snake, and Piranha, also and Shark as well. And thus, once proceeding to excel at their job, they proceed to steal a car. And with the aid of Tarantula, they were able to use this crane with hacking abilities to help them escape, thus cutting us in the present day. Now, this immediately threw me off from the movie, because I wasn't expecting it at all. The movie actually just says the word jackass in it, which caught me so off guard. I was like, huh, interesting. I was pretty sure this was going to be like akin to, younger audience movie. But, I guess there was a slight edge to the original movie, but I don't remember it having this much edge, that's for sure. So, yeah. So, just like the previous movie, the Wolf character is our narrator. And, he proceeds to tell us about how all of the bad guys from the previous movie are trying to do is become, well, good, civilized people, and they're going through job interviews, but of course, they're being torn down due to their criminal past. And I suppose this is a commentary that I don't see a lot in movies. I'd be hard-pressed to think of a lot of movies, at least off the top of my head, that, kind of deal with the aftermath of criminal reform or at the precipice of it. So yeah. I mean, most heist movies are just the heist, but with this being a sequel, it's like the after heist that just happens to lead into a new heist, is essentially the plot of this movie. So, Wolf even sees that his own application was being shredded as soon as he left the interview, meaning that he was seen as this immediate joke or non-candidate from the very get-go. Now, this is just my perspective as someone who's had internships based off of the high school I went to. I think that the job resume interview process is this old archaic fart system that needs to die. There's a substantial way of having jobs come to the people that need them. I feel that's how my high school literally operated, where people of business would come to tell us about their business, and then whoever would be interested would join up an internship and then get a job. That's how that would work. So yeah. Point being, that is unfortunately just not how the majority of the world, even within America, even works. And it's certainly not working in this movie, that is for sure. But through news, he learns of a group called the Phantom Bandits on the loose. But as they are sort of reuniting once again, the group, through their job interview failures, presumably, and yes, indeed, some of them, Snake is the latest one there, and he seems to be in a chipper in upper mobility mode. So, after the fact, Wolf goes and joins Fox. They have a bit of a flirtatious moment here early on. This is even a little bit hinted at the first movie, so they're just sort of picking up where they left off on that. And of course, this news of the Phantom Bandits keeps getting reiterated early in the movie. She provides him to get, you have to give people a reason to trust you, as she sort of puts forward. So he gets the idea to work with the police to confiscate these new criminals that have come on board. But what that quickly resorts to is him bringing in his crew, including Tarantula, Shark, and Piranha. Shark not included because he's off doing whatever. And yes, they call it in this is what they call it in the movie, MacGuffinite. So a literal small MacGuffin. So people are, movie writers are just kind of coming out with that now. We're just explaining what the sneaky terminology of writers use to move the plot forward. We're just gonna name it now. Okay, that's the era we find ourselves in at this point. Because that happens also similarly in the Naked Gun remake. At any rate, so we are introduced to this bird named Susan, or that's her fake name, I guess. I didn't catch her actual name, unfortunately, just so for the simplicity of this movie review, I'll just keep referring to her as Susan, the bird, or Kenku, or whatever bird she is. We then pan over to a warthog who seems to be entering the ring, and Wolf starts to put everything together. So he has Shark and Piranha cut off the warthog as they're trying to steal the belt ring by winning it. So I guess that wouldn't have been stealing if they had done it that way, I guess. So, whoops. Kind of a little bit of a messy plot right now, not gonna lie. But despite that, the belt ends up in Piranha's hands at the end of this little altercation, and people think now abruptly that he is stealing it, so the bad guys are the ones who get all the blame all of a sudden. So they get chased, obviously, and Susan proceeds to pick them up. We learn that, this is even in the trailers, that the snake and the bird have a little bit of a relationship thing going on, and that's why he was happy earlier. And it all presumed via this flashback where we try to see them eat the same thing. And that's about it. That's the entire bit. So, I guess the joke being it's meant to be anticlimactic and not very romantic at all, but they're still finding romance in that, I guess. Anyway, so he catches up to Fox. Wolf does. However, we see that Susan knocks out the entire team, and then Wolf included. They are then brought to this warehouse where they meet the final member, Kitty, this panther-like lichen. So we have our trio. And even despite this treachery, Snake just falls deeper in love, and that is the whole bit throughout the rest of the movie, by the way, for him. So, Kitty then threatens to expose Fox's bit from the first movie with her being this, I forget what her name was, something Claw. So they are, enticed through this bribery to join them. So we then proceed to follow said Fox to the guinea pig from the first movie, who's still in criminal, under bars. He's now super buff. Meanwhile, as she's learning information on that end, they proceed to put together their plan, and we begin to see other individuals moving in, Shark moving in with a disguise, and Susan as well. Sneak coming in to help cut with the power in this facility that they have entered. And it's all to steal this watch. But the guy from the flashback at the beginning of the movie is here to cut off the watch grab officially, but they tear it off during this wedding segment, or false wedding that turns into a double cross of the real bride, I guess. And we learned that this will give them access to a ship, which will, or give them access to this gold magnet puller, essentially. And then, from Fox's perspective, we learn through her interaction that Kitty was there prior. And we then cut to Kitty, who had started off young in the world of thievery, and that gave her the illusion of that world, of that it was, that was the thing that she was good at, so keep doing it, because that's the way to get by. So that has implications of, like, not having anyone else around to, like, pull you off that path, obviously. So I think there's a little bit more there that's sort of left up to the imagination rather than it just being told to us. So unfortunately, the bad guys get caught up. Literally, they get hooked into this magnet thing, and they get put in a situation where they either have to stay there and get arrested, or let Fox get exposed for who she really was. This is still the ultimatum that they try their very best to make sure that neither would be the case. But unfortunately, the video does end up going out. So we see that Fox is able to cut off the ladies who are getting ready to go to the ship with the watch in hand, and she initially fights them off fairly well, but then gets darted, so she gets knocked out, temporarily speaking. And as they're traveling through this, the police commissioner had a little bit of change of heart throughout the movie, I guess. I don't think this is the strongest bit. I think she needed a little bit more time frame in the movie. But nonetheless, she stops and proceeds to give the good guys, or the bad guys, I guess, and once again, the chance to prove that they are innocent and whatnot. So they get to the ship, which is taking off. So, meanwhile, we do see that Fox made her way into the ship as well, though knocked out for a long bit here. So the bad guys also get to the ship, as I mentioned, or if I didn't, whatever. Then we have a little bit of teaming up, as Snake and Piranha team up in one suit, and Shark and Tarantula also do so, and another to do hacking from his perspective. So the ladies of the group start to suck in all the gold, and it begins to lift into space. So as the others are watching this go by, and then they physically see outside Piranha and I believe it was Snake out there with the fart cloud bit in the suit nonetheless, kind of like drifting away. So they're both kind of getting worried about those two, and she's the only one who's wanting to push this all the way to steal all the gold in the world simultaneously. So yeah, they're not too happy about that. So Snake continues to be in trouble. Piranha needs to help him out. Meanwhile, Wolf gets inside of the ship and he gets in a tussle and manages to grab the watch in the process of the after tussle. Meanwhile, the group reunite and they drive a part of the ship into the rest of the gold, making it redisperse back onto Earth. It is from this moment that Fox is able to come to her senses and fend off officially from Kitty, because she has more combat prowess than anyone else in the movie. And that was even confirmed in the first movie as well, so it just makes sense to keep that consistent in this movie as well. This is what leads the two of them to kiss, and now Snake is all like, ugh. Even though he was the one who was all obsessed with being the romance guy. Anywho. So, the Wolf gives a starring speech to his crew, but then it cuts to a memorial. Like midway through his speech, or, nearly done, I'm not sure which, but, then we cut to the commissioner actually letting them out, and then proceeding to hire them as secret agents, as Wolf begins to narrate how their life has changed drastically. I do feel like this movie was a little bit messy, if I'm not gonna lie. I do think some of the comedy works and some of the character work is okay. I do think some of the plotting is a little bit wonky here. From the commissioner's flip to just some of the other plotting revolving around the whole sense of obtaining this MacGuffin, or even earlier in the movie, the belt. It didn't even seem like it was going to be thievery, so these bits are a little frustrating when it's so it shouldn't have been a wrestling match, it should have been like a Hall of Fame instead, and the wrestling match was the distraction. That's what the setup should have been, rather than the belt being hoisted up as if if you grab the belt then you just win the belt, because it doesn't seem like stealing. So it feels like what drives the plot forward doesn't even make sense already. That's what I'm trying to get at. So yes, I do think that the Bad Guys 2 definitely struggles a little bit in terms of figuring out its plotting in the beginning, and even toward the end a little bit there for some of the character work as well. So I think either a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I'd probably lean a little bit toward a 6 out of 10. It's alright, but definitely has a few more mistakes than expected. But I don't know if I would say it's quite meh necessarily quite yet. So yeah, I think that's a fair score. If you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description when it heads you to my petition about small YouTubers sticking to my PayPal, or you can help support me and my channel directly and third to my Discord server. Join Club, chill, do all that cool stuff for free, and until next time everyone, bye!